Imagine someone hands you a chocolate bar, but instead of eating it now, you hide it under your bed. 10 years later, that chocolate bar is worth a car. Sounds crazy, right? That's basically Bitcoin. But here's the weird part. It's not even real chocolate. Let's rewind to 2008. Banks were collapsing. Millions of people lost their homes. Their savings disappeared. And then, governments printed $700 billion to save the banks. Not the people who got hurt, the banks. People were angry. They felt cheated because the game was rigged. The people in charge could print money whenever they wanted. Your money became worth less. Their mistakes became your problem, and nobody could do anything about it. That's when someone got fed up. On Halloween 2008, a person named Satoshi Nakamoto published an idea. Nobody knows who Satoshi really is. Could be one person, could be a group, could be your neighbor. Doesn't matter. The idea was simple. What if money didn't need banks? What if nobody could print more whenever they felt like it? What if everyone could see every transaction, but nobody could cheat? That idea became Bitcoin. Think of it like this. You have a notebook, but this notebook is magical. Every person on Earth has an exact copy. If you try to rip out a page, 10,000 people yell, "Liar," because their notebooks don't match. That's how Bitcoin works. It's a shared notebook that nobody controls and nobody can fake. So who writes in this notebook? Meet the miners. These are people with powerful computers solving math puzzles. Think of it like a race. Whoever solves the puzzle first gets to write the next page in the notebook, and as a reward, they get some Bitcoin. This happens every 10 minutes, forever. But here's the twist. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, ever. No more can be made. It's like if there were only 21 million pieces of gold on Earth and we knew exactly where every piece was. When something is limited, it becomes valuable, especially when people want it. And millions of people want Bitcoin. Remember how governments can print money whenever they want? Between 2020 and 2022, the United States printed 40% of all the dollars that ever existed. 40% in 2 years. What happens when you flood the world with money? Everything gets more expensive. Your rent, your groceries, your coffee. Bitcoin doesn't have that problem. Nobody can print more. Nobody controls it. It's like gold, but digital. You can't carry $1 million in gold across a border, but you can memorize 12 words and carry $1 million in Bitcoin in your head. That's why people call it digital gold. And it's not just regular people buying it. Big companies are too. Tesla bought it. Big banks offer it now. Even entire countries are experimenting with it. El Salvador made it official money. In places like Nigeria and Argentina where local money loses value fast, people use Bitcoin to protect what they have. Over 300 million people use it now, not because it's trendy, because it solves a real problem. But Bitcoin isn't perfect. Some very smart investors hate it. Warren Buffett called it worthless. He says it doesn't produce anything. And he's right. Bitcoin doesn't grow crops, it doesn't pay you rent, it just sits there, like gold. If you judge Bitcoin like you judge a business, it fails. But Bitcoin isn't trying to be a business. It's trying to be money that nobody controls. And that scares some people. Governments have tried to ban it. China kicked out all the miners. India threatened to shut it down. But Bitcoin didn't die. The miners just moved somewhere else. Because you can't shut down something that lives on thousands of computers around the world. Some people worry about the creator, Satoshi. What if he comes back and sells all his Bitcoin? He owns about 1 million coins. That's a lot. But even if he did, he can't change the rules because the rules aren't his anymore. They belong to everyone running the system. And then there's the future question. What if a super powerful computer cracks Bitcoin's code? It's possible. But Bitcoin's developers are already working on upgrades, just in case. The truth is, Bitcoin survives because it's simple. It does one thing: be money that nobody controls. It's slow on purpose, boring on purpose, secure on purpose. That's the point. So what is Bitcoin really? It's a bet that people are tired of trusting banks and governments with their money, a bet that scarcity matters, a bet that code is harder to break than promises. Some people think it's the future. Some think it's a joke. Both might be right. But here's what's undeniable. For 15 years, people said it would die, and it's still here. Maybe that's the real story. Not that Bitcoin is perfect, but that it refuses to disappear. And in a world that changes, that's worth thinking about.